Want to, we can leave your friends behind, cause your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well they're no friends of mine. I said, we can go where we want to, place where they will never find, and we can act like we come from out of this world, leave the real one far behind. We can dance. We can dance. We can go when we want to. The night is young and so am I, and we can dress real neat from our hats to our feet and surprise them with a victory cry. I said, we can act if we want to, if we don't nobody will, and you can act real rude and totally removed, and I can act like an imbecile. Say it, we can dance, everything's under control. We can dance, doing it wall to wall. We can dance, everybody look at your hands. We can dance, everybody's taking a chance. Well, it's a safe to dance, yes, it's safe to dance, yes, it's safe to dance, yes, it's safe to dance.
We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joke. your home for all things combat sports, and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Ben Bronco. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing it, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. If it's Sunday, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of, what did I say? The show where I hold us accountable for all our shit talking and shenaniganery and bring you all the most important recaps for this weekend's punchy, kicky goodness. Excuse me. Excuse me. See, we do this live. This week is a bit of a mixed bag. Luckily, we did not see the return of the injury curse strike the main or co-main event, but we did see some interesting results, and a piece that I am going to talk about again on Thursday on the full version of the show. But first and foremost, we just found out this afternoon, the MMA gods giveth and the MMA gods taketh away. This week we got Cain Velasquez released from jail on bond with his incidents, and then found out this afternoon that Anthony Rumble Johnson has unfortunately passed away at the age of 38. So rest in peace, Rumble. We're going to do this one properly. Basically all the reports that have come out have just said that he passed away as a result of his long-standing battle with illness that has kept him from returning to the cage for several years now. The outpouring on social media, the number of people whose lives he touched, and just uncountable number of stories of how amazing of a human being he was. Just, it sucks. So obviously, first and foremost, our thoughts are with Rumble's family and friends who were most directly affected by this. But as fucked up as it is to say, if this doesn't show us that Rumble should have been in the Hall of Fame a long fucking time ago, nothing will. So rest in peace, Rumble. This one's for you, buddy. So that being said, UFC 281 live from Madison Square Garden yesterday. I will say one of the strangest events rather, that's getting talked about now as a result of UFC 281 actually didn't take place inside the building. It actually took place on the sidewalk out in front of Madison Square Garden yesterday. I believe they said it was about halfway through the event when Nate Diaz and crew ran into Dylan Dennis, and Nate Diaz apparently slapped him. There's a video of a giant hubbub going on. When Nate Diaz and crew get involved, that you kind of got to expect it at this point. So that being said, UFC 281. Honestly, probably in all reality, a better card than UFC 280 from Abu Dhabi was, realistically speaking. We'll start it off here, right up at the top of the goddamn card. Carlos Ulberg showed that he is not Mike Blood Diamond. 3 minutes 44 seconds into a decent back and forth that Ulberg came out and definitely was standing firm in, and he lays Nikolai Nigamaranu flat the fuck out on his back, staring at the stars. Giant fucking left shot, hit him with a low kick to distract him, and then landed a left that just fucking timbered him flat over. Nicely done, Carlos Ulberg. Nicely done indeed. Montel Jackson back in there, just handled business with Julio Arce. Good on you for that one, making the shine a little brighter. Um, one of the biggest early surprises of the evening, in my opinion, Sungwoo Choi versus Mike Trezano. Mike Trezano coming in the underdog, plus 135, and just went to fucking war from the absolute fucking opening bell. And Trezano lands one of the nicest combos he may have ever thrown, but at least one of the nicer combos we've seen recently in the UFC, and puts Choi the fuck out on his ass. Post-fight speech was a little weird. I get that they took away his fucking hat, and that's bullshit. I agree, but it got a little fucking weird in the end there. So, that, and you missed weight, so you can't yell about getting bonus money when you miss weight and swear on the prelims. That's the long established rules of the bonuses. So sorry, Trezano. Maybe next time, keep your weight in check. Don't swear on the post fight. We'll talk about them bonuses. The fight itself, overall good. Even my dog agrees. Hi. Look out, pretty girl. Hold on. So that'll bring us to the next fight. The ladies on the earlies. Carolina Kowalkiewicz versus Selena Gomez Juarez. Carolina just like showed glimpses of why she got signed to the UFC to begin with. She was showing those flashes of old school Tiger Muay Thai style. She looked great on the fucking ground when the fight went to the fucking ground as well. And her left jab just made it through the guard like it wasn't even fucking there. So, one of the only decisions on the entire card, Montel Jackson, and then the ladies fight here. The issue with this fight, though, is that as they went to call Buffer into the ring, there was fuckery with the judges' scorecards. They literally were trying to change the scorecards for the judges in the ring when Buffer was getting ready to start talking, to the extent that they had to bring all the judges back into the ring and then bring all the judges out of the ring and bring Buffer out of the ring down to the judges' table. And then to such an extent that Bruce Buffer at one point literally takes a pen out of his own pocket and writes his own notes on his fucking index cards in his hand and throws the gigantic fucking Denny's placemat of a piece of paper they tried to have him take with him, rather, back to the judges. So, not that it deserves to be, but a lot of us, there was a bunch of us watching the fights together, and it sure the fuck seems like that is almost textbook of a case for how to get a case thrown, or how to get a result thrown out by an athletic commission. Because if that's not impropriety, or at the very least fucking some kind of violation of fucking codes, that should at the very least be publicly fucking shunned. Like, just go back and watch the replay of the end of that fight and the announcement of the winner if you don't believe me. I'm telling you, there somebody needs to get in trouble for that shit. That shouldn't happen. But worst case scenario, that could clearly be some fuckery afoot. So we'll see. That being said, though, I feel like a little bit of karma was enacted here on this early premier prelim fight. Excuse me. I feel like if Atman Azaitar would have just told everyone what was really in the fucking bag in Abu Dhabi, it wasn't just his personal bag. You don't do some Spider-Man bullshit on the fucking balcony. Parkour. If it's just your regular personal fucking bag, there's clearly fuckery afoot there. And I get it. He wants to keep denying it. I'm guessing it's got something to do with the Azerbaijani fucking warlord that he seems to be tied up to, as well as his brother. But we don't know for a fact, so it's all just speculation. But that being said, Steamroller Favola off the back foot, up against the fence, just fucking rocked him backing up. And it wasn't even a full balance shot that did it. And it crumpled, like it was the one of a 1-2 that he was throwing. And by the time the two got there, Azaitar had already fallen so far below, the punch wouldn't have fucking landed. 1 second. Allergies are killing me. Sorry about that. My nose is getting me too'd by the local fucking trees right now. It's just not fun. It's allergy season across the Midwest again for a lot of us, and it sucks. That being said, though, yeah, Steamroller for Vola, round 1, 2 minutes 30 seconds. Fucking lays a Zatar the fuck out, as he absolutely fucking should have. So good on him. It's going to be interesting to see what they do matchmaking wise with Frivola going forward. Same with the Zatar to a certain degree. He hasn't really ever proven anything, really, in my opinion. So it's just going to be interesting to see where they ship him or downgrade him to. But I think at this point, Frivola deserves another little step up. So we'll see. But that brings us to the prelims. Andre Petrosky versus Wellington Turnman. Man, Turnman just disappointed. Petrosky didn't really do anything impressive. Turnman disappointed in one of the other few uh, decision fights. I think it was 4 decisions. 4 fights went to cards. Other than that, 10 fucking finishes on the card, and I think 7 of them were first round finishes at that. So fucking A. That being said, on to an actual good fucking fight. Aaron Blanchfield versus Molly McCann. We talked about this a couple different times on the I'm No Joe podcast on Thursday nights. If you, as the UFC, want Molly McCann to keep being the legitimate potential star that she is, you need to keep doing what has made her the star that she currently is, and that is giving her soup cans that she can style on and look great doing so, preferably in England. Well, they brought her to the States and they gave her someone who was very much not a can. I've been saying for a minute now, Aaron Blanchfield is fucking highly, highly dangerous. She has got great fucking potential. She's a very well-rounded 23-year-old fucking former champion from LFA. So Aaron Blanchfield is slowly and quietly just tearing her way through this fucking division, and I am so fucking happy to see it. Especially at the behest of one meatball Molly McCann, who thought she was fucking unstoppable and came in and got crucifixed and elbowed and short punched for about 3 minutes straight unfucking answered until she finally got that fucking Goodnight Gracie in there and got the tap. Just absolute fucking domination. The Kimura from the crucifix that she held Molly in for almost the entirety of the 3.5 minutes that the fight lasted. So Aaron fucking Blanchfield looked like a goddamn stud. Speaking of looking like a stud, though, Ryan Superman Spann. Wow. I don't know if this fight gave us any more relevant data to input into the equation of if ring rust is real or not, seeing as how Reyes has been out on the sidelines for a minute and hurt several times in the recovery process of getting back to the ring. But this is his 3rd loss in a row. This is his 3rd vicious knockout loss in a row. And realistically speaking, there's not much better left for him in the rest of the rankings in the UFC's light heavyweight division. We realistically may have seen Dominic Reyes for the last time as a professional mixed martial artist Saturday night. And to his credit, Ryan Spann looked spectacular in doing it. He didn't do anything terribly significant, anything really special, but he looked good putting Dominic Reyes the fuck away so fucking strongly that Reyes, as he was trying to sit up, was like almost seizing in the octagon. It was fucking insane. So he absolutely deserves more credit than he's going to get for that win, I feel like, especially given the way that the bonuses did. But we'll get to that in just a minute here. Oh yeah, that's right. And he did it with the jab. It looked like it was a follow-up from a 1-2 almost, but it was an actual jab that Reyes ate and went to sleep from. So but that'll bring us to probably the best promo cut of the evening. If you watched the fights last night, you'll understand. If you didn't watch the fights last night, what you need to know in summation from the 3 minutes 20 seconds that this fight lasted was Moicano wants money. Sorry to headphone users who didn't see that one coming. But Renato Moicano not only came out with some fucking spectacular looking fresh new ink, but a fresh new fucking vibrancy that we hadn't seen in a long time out of Renato. And poor fucking Quake, man. The Moicano backpack was real, and it took just a little over 3 minutes for that backpack to just choke the fuck out of Brad Riddell to the point where there was no fucking denying that Renato Moicano wants money. But that promo, though, that promo in the post-fight fucking interview, one of the better in-ring fucking speeches he's given, in my opinion. Even if he did refer to himself in third person a whole lot and it was a little bit weird, still better than what we've seen him do in the past. That being said, main card opener, Dan Hooker, Claudio Puelles. Man, this was, in my opinion at least, a combination of Dan Hooker getting back to the Dan Hooker that he was when the Hangman first showed up in the UFC, which is awesome, and Claudio Puelles being a new iteration, for lack of a better descriptor, of Ryan Hall, in that we knew his knee bars were nasty, but last night we got to see what happens when the knee bar doesn't work. That the Imanari switch in his brain that Ryan Hall has, that's broken in the on position, activates. I think he tried 7 Imanari rolls or 8 Imanari rolls when it was all said and done. None of them actually latched on. None of them done properly because none of them were set up right. And Dan Hooker just beat the shit out of him, as he fucking should have. We already have one Ryan Hall, and he's not good at what he does, and he's the best in the world at it pretty much. So we don't need another one. 4 minutes round 2. Hooker knocks him the fuck out, and it's over. Just beautifully done. Speaking of which, two minutes, 1 second in round 1, in a decent opening round. Excuse me. Chris Gutierrez lands basically the standing version of the same knee that Corey Sandhagen jumped and landed against Frankie Edgar, and had almost exactly the same effect. It was a standing knee instead of a flying knee, but the timing was almost exactly the same way that Sandhagen got to him, and Frankie fell down stiff as a fucking board. And you could see that Gutierrez understood the significance of the moment and what had just happened, and the emotions just fucking completely overcame him as he waited to make sure that everything was okay with Frankie and everything got wrapped up. Excuse me. Fucking allergy medicine got me all kinds of yawning now. But to his credit, Gutierrez was a good fucking sport. There was no fucking bragging. There was no fucking showboating. He understood the gravity of the situation that he was in. He really did. So hats off to Gutierrez for handling that situation as well as you possibly could when you're stuck dealing with what he had to deal with. I think I and a lot of people really wish that fight would not have just been made. They would have done something different. Maybe even if they would have waited a little longer, a better matchup for Frankie. That one sucks to see as his retirement fight from that side of it. Excuse me. So that being said, Frankie is now technically retired, I believe. So hopefully, if by some strange twist of fate, we do see Frankie lace the gloves back up again. It's an appropriate fight. There are still a couple of matchups they could have made for him that would have made a lot more fucking sense than this one. Maybe even not at fucking bantamweight, which I get he's trying to do because that's his new thing. But no. But if he is retired, that's fucking great as well. Frankie's got more than enough options going forward that he doesn't need to keep fighting if he feels he's not capable of keeping up. So retire when you're ready to retire. Don't retire when you have to retire is the way that we try to look at it. So moving on from there to the people's co-main event, as it were, Poirier versus Chandler. I will say one of the better round ones we have seen this year for damn sure. Not the best, but good. But it basically went exactly like anybody who's been paying attention to these two's careers could have predicted that it was going to. Chandler came out throwing big, heavy, wild fucking sweeping shots right out of the fucking gate, pedaled the fucking floor, gassed himself out as Poirier absorbed the couple big shots that did actually land and outsmarted, outpaced, and outworked Michael Chandler, despite the fish hooking he got called out for, the poor man's Luke Rockhold v. Paulo Costa attempt that Chandler did as he snot rocketed in Dustin's face, which was fucking gross. And just scumbaggery. Chandler was a fucking douchebag and a cheater and got caught, but unfortunately didn't cost him any points. Luckily, it did cost him the fight, though. The choke that he tried to get Poirier with when the fight went to the ground early and was unsuccessful because Chandler is trash. Poirier then turned around in the third and put back on Chandler and locked in and got that motherfucking sub. Nicely done by Poirier. However, as has been mentioned by several other people prior to now, that win does not put him back in title contention. Especially now that we know that not only is Islam the champ and not Charles anymore, but Islam's already got his first fight confirmed, booked, signed. Excuse me. And it's against Alexander Volkanovski. So nothing is guaranteed beyond that at this point right now. What does seem to make the most sense to pretty much everyone is Poirier versus Dariush for the next potential title shot, given it's not an immediate Volkanovski holding the belt rematching fucking Islam. So the other side of that is that Chandler vehemently called for a fight with Conor McGregor, which I don't think he should fucking get, especially since he's been saying this shit the whole time and he hasn't done anything to prove that he should get a fight of that level. He's lost to everyone in the top 5 pretty much. I don't think he should get that. I don't think he should get that Conor fight. And not that Conor's the prize, but in this situation, he is. But fuck him. Moving on from there to the actual co-main events. I feel like this could have been Stevie Wonder's psychic debut, because even a blind man could see how this fight was going to go. And guess fucking what? It went exactly the way that everyone thought it was going to go. Carla came out and just did not have an answer for Weili anywhere. Weili came out and outstruck her, and when they tried to grapple, Weili was faster and more deadly on the ground, which was apparently surprising to people. Until a minute into round 2, Weili choked the absolute fuck out of Carla and took her fucking belt back, just like pretty much everyone thought was going to do. Our entire Tapology group, all of us, had Weili by round 2. Most of us had her by round 2 knockout, but our entire group got a perfect or a or most of us got a semi-perfect. A couple people got a perfect for Weili beating Carla in round 2. Every fucking one of us knew that was coming. So that's not a fluke, and that's not an anomaly. That's educated fucking guessing proving to be correct. What they do with the strawweight belt now that Weili has become the 3rd woman in a row, ironically enough, to win, lose, and then win back the belt. I can tell you one thing: the rematch with Carlos Esparza is not on the horizon anywhere near. I think a lot of it has to do with what Rose is going to do once this documentary about her crazy fucking life comes out. Because if Rose is ready to get back in there, there is zero doubt in my mind that they would immediately what the fuck? That they would immediately make the Rose versus Weili rematch again, in which case I am 99% confident that Rose would take the belt back from Weili again, and then Rose would become the first woman in history to win a belt 3 times, which starts us back into the same vicious fucking cycle again. And then Rose or Joanna is going to officially come out of retirement again. So I don't like it. I don't like it. Lady strawweight is getting weird. It's getting to be very similar to men's lightweight was before the Oliveira Makhachev fight. I don't know. We'll see. But and new again, Zhang Weili is the women's strawweight champion once again. From there, moving on to the main event of MSG, Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. And I've got to say, I was genuinely surprised that we got a full-on deja vu match. Alex Pereira looked exactly the same in the octagon against Izzy as he did in the kickboxing ring against him 6 years ago. He used most of the same techniques, was carrying his left out and cocked back to always throw because that's his one big power shot. But Israel Adesanya was just beating the shit out of him for a solid 4 rounds, and then a good minute into the 5th round. Had him clearly wobbled to the extent that the bell saved him at the end of round 1. Had him very much hurt at the end of round 3. But round 5, he came back out. Alex Pereira came back out and Glover and the rest of his corner got him hyped up enough that he came out throwing fucking cannons again, and one of those cannons just happened to land square. That fucking gigantic left of his landed square again on Izzy's chin and rocked him, but Izzy just leaned against the fence and stayed in there. And that's not a good move, and it proved to not be a good move. And Pereira got him very hurt before Mark Goddard jumped in and stopped him, preventing an actual knockout. This is one of those that I can see both sides of it. I can absolutely see why Mark Goddard jumped in when he did, but I also can understand why Izzy said, bring back Steve Mazzagatti, because much like the fight last week that we talked about and another fight the week before that, it's not like this fight was going to drastically change in the last 2.5 minutes that were left in the fight. But it didn't have to. It didn't have to drastically change. It could have stayed the way that it was. And if Izzy could just survive the rest of that round, he had 4 other rounds that he had banked, in my opinion. 3 worst case scenario that were solidified banked. And then if you lost that round and gave one of the other rounds to Pereira, he still would have maintained keeping his belt on a 3-2 decision win. But Mark Goddard jumped in, stopped the fight, and new times 2. Dana, Izzy, and Pereira, all 3 pretty much agree that it looks like there's going to be an immediate rematch. And just like with Leon and Kamaru Usman, when you've been as long reigning of a champion as Adesanya has, he deserves an immediate rematch. Same thing with Amanda Nunes with Juliana Pena. She deserved that immediate rematch, and she got it. So it looks like Izzy is probably going to get an immediate rematch. When and where, we will find out soonish, I'm sure. That being said, though, on a card where Dana opens up talking about how many records they broke and how much money they made and how many, pay-per-views they sold. 10 out of 14 fights were finishes. 10 out of 14 fights were finishes. 7 of those 10 were finished in the first round. And this is the card that they chose to stick with the fundamentals, and they gave 2 performance of the night and a traditional fight of the night bonus. Fight of the night, Chandler Poirier. I get it. Not mad at that. Performance of the night, Weili Zhang, absolutely deserved it. And then Alex Pereira, which I don't feel like he really fucking deserves a bonus for getting his ass kicked for 5 rounds and then landing a big fucking swing in the 5th. And not to mention Aaron Blanchfield, fucking shit. Half a dozen others, fucking Gutierrez, Dan Hooker, fucking Hanato Moicano, except he was on the prelims and he cussed, so he kind of eliminated himself. Ryan Spann missed weight, so he's out. But Aaron Blanchfield for sure. Petrovsky don't deserve no goddamn bonus, but Frivola sure the fuck could use a bonus. Carolina could sure use a fucking bonus for beating fucking Gomez. Trizano missed weight and was on the prelims and cussed, so he don't get a bonus. But Olberg sure the fuck could have used a bonus. Definitely multiple options that would have been better than giving out Pereira and just Weili. I agree Weili deserves hers. Pereira did not, and I don't think he holds on to that belt for long. But that being said, that is all we've got for this particular episode here. Tune in Thursday for the full version of the I'm No Joe podcast for our last episode before the Thanksgiving break. That being said, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your notifications are turned on. Wherever you are consuming this particular content, please make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you like what we are doing, share the video, helps us grow. On the other side of that coin, If you want to help us do what we do, patreon.com/I'mNoJoe. For as little as $1 a month, you get your name as a thank you in the end of all the broadcasts that we do here on this channel. And it gives you access to unaired and literally unairable content that we legally have to keep behind a paywall and age restrict 18 and above, please, only. That being said, we appreciate you, whether you give us $1 or not, whether you watch this on replay or you're here with us live, we appreciate you just the same. If, on the other hand, you don't appreciate us and you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast that you didn't enjoy? That being said, go ahead and give us a thumbs down and then go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, that's all we got for this particular episode. So we will see you all again on Thursday. And remember, folks, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. R.I.P. Rumble Johnson.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.